Alright, I am going to do this resume project. If you don't want to watch, tune me out, whatever, but I'm going to do it anyway because I said I was going to. So I'm going to start by starting a new Android project. It'll be empty. Alright, I'm going to call it resume, and I'm going to put it right under my desktop. Finish. Now what should happen when I did that is it should come up and give me a folder right there that's called resume, and it's and it's got my junk in it. Alright, I think that's pretty obvious. I mean, I don't think I have to spend any time talking about that. Alright, so the first thing I want to do is I want to come in here, and again, the order in which I do this isn't that important, but I am going to come in it's still creating. Alright, there it is. So I've got my activity main here, and I've got my main activity.java and my activity main.xml. First thing I'm going to do, and like I said, it really doesn't matter the order in which you do this. There are probably much better ways of doing this that I'm about to show you, but I'm going to show it to you this way anyway. Oh, where is it? There it is. There's the picture of me. All right. And the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and I'm going to go to my drawable folder that's right there. Alright, and there's different ways that you can do this. To me, the easiest way, you may or may not agree, is to just take that picture, right mouse click on it, and drag it right into the drawable folder. Then it comes back and it says, hey, do you want to move that here? Yes. So just click OK, and boom, there it is, right there. Okay? So, like I said, that's in there. That's probably the easiest way of doing it. You may agree, you may not agree. Alright, so I want to close this. I'm going to go up to my activity main that's right here. Okay, and I don't really need this other file or the bluish color that's there, so I'm just going to put in design, and that's it. Plus, I'm going to pump it up a little bit. There. Alright, I'll keep the constraint layout. We don't have to do that. But I think you all know this, but I'm just going to grab this hello world, and I'm going to drag it right up near the top. All right? And I'm going to change the ID on it because now there isn't any. So I'm going to call it text view title. All right, I'm going to put resume on there. So I'm going to go to where the text says hello world, get rid of that. Start up a new screen or string value reference, call it title, and here I'm just going to call it my, how about this, Jeff Scott resume. All right. I was getting this yesterday too, where I was getting these IDE errors. I don't know. Maybe it's where I'm due to be getting an upgrade on here or something. I don't know, but there it is. Okay, you don't have to do this, but I figured with the text size, I'm going to bump it way up to 30. It's pretty big there. I'm going to go to text style and I'm going to bold it. All right, again, you didn't have to do that, but to me it read a little bit better like that. All right, then I'm going to come in and notice everything, since I used the one from the top, it already is all covered, so to speak. All right, so next I'm going to go to an image view that's right here, and I'm going to drag that thing and put it right underneath here. When you do this, if you click, I think it's project, there it is, there's me. Click, boom, there's that. Now, you'll notice it's pretty much out of shape right now, like I am. But I can knock this down, etc. I can do a bunch of stuff with it. but somewhere in here is a scale type, and I'm just going to tell it to what do we want? I mean, you could choose whichever one you want. You know, center, inside, fit start, fit end, center, etc. That's way too big. Fit XY, well, I mean, that looks good. I like that one. I can take myself and, all right. So I'll just put it like that for now, all right? And click in here. Well, for some reason, there it is. Okay, so I've got that. Probably a bigger picture than I'd want, but again, you get the idea, all right? And again, when you look at this, you may or may not have known this, even those of you who aren't really super paying attention, which is okay. But I'm going to come over here. I'm going to click on this. So if I click here, I can set up my margins too. So I'm going to just go here, 8. I'm going to go here, 8. I'm going to go here, and I'm going to set it to about 24. All right? So if I ran it now, you pretty much know what would be there, right? Okay, now I'm going to add the 4 buttons. 1, 2, 3, 4. Not super. I didn't, mainly because I made that image too big. But again, it works. As far as I can tell, it's going to work. All right. Now, when I look at the image view, it says I'm missing content description attribute on image. What does that mean? Well, if I click on image, notice if I go here, there's content description. I think that's like an alt tag. All right. So I can click over here. I've already got, well, I don't have anything there. So I can come in and put in a new string resource and call it picture of me. All right. So I think that's in there now. So notice the only thing now are my buttons. I don't know if I can, nope, I maybe not, I don't know. But I'm going to just grab this one right here. I'm going to drag that over this way. I'm going to drag it over this way. All right, then I'm going to take it and drag it up a little bit. All right. So come in here in the first button that we're supposed to create. I'm going to call it button work experience. All right, so that one's set, and I should also change the text on it, I guess. Again, I'm going to expect when you do this, everybody hear this, that when you take your tests and whatever, you're going to be using the strings.xml file. That's points on your test. All right, so we'll call this work experience. So there's the first button. Second one, I'm going to do the same thing here. All right, and the second one is supposed to be called education. And again, okay. Let's see, what else do we have here? The text, again, I'm going to go over and add a new string resource. All right, the third one here is supposed to be call me. And the text will be just that. And the last one will be email me. Alright, so there's my buttons, and I'm just looking at what's left here. Let's see, not constrained. Okay, there's the education. That one's constrained, so there's this one. And the final one. Okay, so there's the interface. I did change the background color on mine. Hell, it's, basically, since it is a resume, I thought it would look a little nicer. You don't have to do that. But I went to background, went over here, started looking at colors, and then tried to pick one. Is it style? I don't remember. I thought it was colors. Android colors, and I just happened to pick hollow blue light. Okay? All right. So there you go. Again, not fantastic. Probably still should make that smaller. That would probably have looked better like that, I guess. All right, then I could have pushed that down, etc. But you know what? I'm just going to leave it the way it is. So, file save, or save all. Let's run it just to see what it looks like. Okay, and there it is. All right. So when we start looking at this, what we want to have happen is when we click on work experience or education, we want it to go to a new activity. Did you all hear that? So again, you may have looked at this already, you may not have, I don't know. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back out here. All right, I'm going to go back to my main activity. Let's see, I want to bring the project thing up. All right, and I want to find where my main activity is, and right up above that, which is my package, I want to right mouse click, choose new activity, empty activity. See this? Right mouse click, new activity, empty activity. Now, don't call everyone main 2 activity, main 3 don't do that. All right, this is going to be my work experience, so call it what it is. So this will be my work experience activity. Click finish. All right, and you'll notice when you look over here now, I've got a work experience XML and I've got a work experience activity. All right, all I'm going to copy over there right now, is going to be my heading, this thing. So I'm going to copy that over to this. All right. And what I want to do is, instead of title right there, I want this to be a new string resource. Come on. And I'm going to have, do I have work experience already? I do. I've already got work experience. So there it says that. Okay. But the nice thing looking at this with work experience on it, I can go down if I want to. I can go down to text size. Yeah, it is still set to 30, and style is bold. So that's good. All right. Now, nothing's going to happen. I'm not going to go there, etc. All right. I could change a color. I'm not going to do that. But what I'm going to do, if you look up on the screen here, is I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to right mouse click. I'm going to choose New. I'm going to go down to Activity, and I'm going to choose one more empty activity. This one I'm going to call Education Activity. And click Finish. So now when you look at this, I now have 3 Java files. And if I go in under my res layout, I've got 3 XML files. That should make sense to all of you. All right. So what I want to do is I want to come out to this Education XML. All right, which is, I think, still loading. But I want to come out there, and I do want to come in, and I want to add, again, so I'll just grab it from my work experience. I'm going to grab this and copy it. Come over here to my education and paste it in. But I don't want it to say that. All right, I want it to say education, and I've already got that, so there's education. It's 30, it's bold. So now I have 3 different full pages. I'm asking, any questions on how to do that? You will have to do something not even that hard, but tomorrow on the test. All right? So let's put in the associated code. All right, the code for now at least is going to go all back just to our activity main Java file. And I'm going to come up here and I'm going to create my 4 buttons. Got work history, education, call me, and email me. All right, so there's where they've been defined. Now I want to come down here and actually give them values. Close this. Oh, all right, so I called it work experience, not work history, so I'm going to change that. All right, you don't have to make them jive like this where they're the same thing, but to me it makes a lot more sense to do that. All right, so again, I'm asking the question because we're half done already. Any questions on that? All right. Okay, then let's put in the code to go to our work history page. All right. So you may have this already, you may not, but just in case you don't. So I'm going to say button, my, not work history, work experience. Button, work experience. Dot set on click listener. All right, and you come in there and you type in view, you hit tab, come on, V, and you hit, come on. Why it's doing that, I don't know. I know why, because it's new V. There you go. All right. So this says what's about to happen when I click the button. All right. And it's not hard. It's literally 2 lines of code. I have to create what's called an intent. It means I intend to do something. So I'm going to call it go to work experience. I'm putting this over 2 lines so it doesn't go off the page. That's it. Literally, that's all the code I have to put in. So again, created the button here, came in here, put it on click listener, and under the on click, I created a new intent. That said grab where I currently am, and I want to go here. Okay? That's supposing you use the same names I used. So I'm going to do a file, save all. I'm going to run this again. This will take a second to reset itself, but once it does, I'm going to come in there and I'm going to click the work history, and it should go to the new page then. See that? Does that make sense? All right. And I can click here always and go back again. All right. So that's the first one. Then I want to do virtually the same thing, but with that education. So I'm going to say button education.set on click listener, new view, and I'm going to do the same thing. Intent, go to education equals new intent. So do you see how basically the code between these is virtually identical, except in one case I'm going to one screen and in one case I'm going to another screen? All right. So I'll save this. Go back and run it again. And I notice now my last button's getting cut off, so I am going to have to make that image smaller. But education, I go to the education page. Work experience, I go to the work experience page. All right? So let's put in the code for the other things, but before I do, like I said, I want to come back to here and actually make this thing smaller. That I'll worry about in just a second. But this... All right, that's better. So I'm going to click in here and what the hell is it? Scale type. Let's try a fit XY. Oh, that's great. Fit center, or just center inside. There you go. All right. So that's, I think they should all at least show now. Now, the next thing to do is the call me button. All right. Again, you may have already gotten this to work. I don't have any idea. But I'm going to assume for a second you did not. So I'm going to go back to my main activity. And now I'm going to put in the call me. So this will go to the work experience activity or page. This one will go to the education activity or page. All right. And now I want to put in the next one. All right. So button call me dot, again, set on click listener. Okay. And new view. Okay, so again, this is going to be for the what we want to do here, again, to be able to bring up the phone. All right. The way you do this, and how did I find this out? I looked online. URI. Anybody know what URI stands for? URI is a Universal Resource Indicator. A URL is a type of URI. Unlike a URL, a URI doesn't even have to really exist. All right. All right. So URI, I just called it phone number. You can call it whatever you want. Equals URI.parse. I have to tell it it's a telephone, and then I have to give it the number.
I can learn to understand you much better if I can get familiar with the way you talk. I need your permission to help.
All right. So inside of here, where I tell it the telephone number, I'm going to put in here my number, 314-286-3675. If you ever decide you're actually going to use this and make it where you give it to people, no, all kidding aside, don't put my phone number in there. All right? I don't want to be called by people, you know, you want to use me as a reference, that's okay. So, then again, another intent. I just called this call me intent. I'm not going anywhere. That's why it's not a go-to like the other ones were. So, intent, call me intent equals new intent, intent dot, look on the screen here. These are all the different actions that you can take up with this thing. And there's a lot more, but that's just some of them right there. What I want to take up is action dial. All right. And I have to tell it what to dial. How about the phone number? And then I tell it to start that activity. All right. That's it. Give me a second. So let's do a file. Save all. Let's run it again. I'll come right back to the code. So if you do want to see it, you'll be able to. So here it is again. All right. You already know the work experience works. You already know the education works. All right. But now when I click the call me, notice what it does is it brings up, and again, it brings this up, but it's bringing it up in an emulator. All right. My guess is if I do call right now, and if I walked over by my phone, I don't think it's going to be ringing. I have no idea. All right. I guess I could have called my own cell phone number to see. Does all that stuff make sense? All right. The last one, and again, in order for that to work, we'll have to actually hook up the physical devices. So I can put the code in. I'll show you what the code is, but we have to change that. All right? Now, I'm telling you something here. You may or may not agree with this, but you may even want to think of, I don't know if you could actually put your portfolio into an Android app. You probably could, but it might take a lot of work. But even this, you might want to go fix up your resume and put it out there as an Android app so that if we have, you know, hopefully we're going to have people here that last day to look at what you're doing. All right. So let's finish the last one, and that's button email me. Again, dot set on click listener, new view. All right. And it's going to be a lot of the same stuff. Now, please look up on the screen here, even if you've done it, because I just want to make sure you get all this. Since I call that one call me intent, I call this one email me intent. Didn't have to. All right, and that's equal to new intent dot action send. All right. Now, what I'm going to show you is a lot more code than you'd probably want to put in. Did you all hear me? In other words, it's going to come up on the screen like this. You know, it's going to say to, and it'll have, in my case, jpscott@rankin.edu. Okay? And we'll put that in. We'll put in, you know, I won't put in, I don't know if it'll have a from, I guess it won't probably, but it'll be like array regarding, and it'll say resume. And then I'll have something like resume received. So I'm going to show you how to put in all that stuff. You may not want to put in any actual text. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because that might be very forward of you. Oh, just press this button. And, you know, in fact, I'm going to change that. I'm going to say, Andrew is the best programmer that God has ever created. Yeah, I'm going to do that. Hopefully they're going to send that, and then see, I can keep that. All right? But you can put as much of this stuff as you want to or need to put in. So I'm going to put in 3 more lines, and then we'll start the activity. All right? So, first one. This one you have to put in set type, plain text. I wouldn't recommend changing that to HTML unless you really are going to be putting a lot of HTML tags in there. But typically most people like just regular text email. That's, again, like I said, that's my recommendation. So email intent dot put extra. Oops, yeah. Email intent dot. Well, we'll see if that gets fixed in a minute. So what's wrong with this? Email me intent. Okay. So that's who it's going to be sent to. Look up on the screen, please. Notice this is a string array. If I put a comma here after this, I could add, as an example, I could say, oops, I could put a comma here and put in jpscott@gmail.com. Even though that's not my Gmail. But you get what I'm saying? Be real leery of doing that. I wouldn't put in a ton of emails. I would put in your primary one. But again, you may or may not agree with that, and it's your resume. So when I'm telling you this stuff, if you don't agree, you do it the way you want to do it. All right. So we also need here not just the extra email, but subject. And I just put resume. Again, you don't have to do that. Does everybody understand? Literally, that'll be your subject line. There are some people who believe that when you are filling something out for somebody, you should fill in as much stuff for them as you can. And other people believe, no, they're adults. They can fill out whatever the hell they want to. All right? So this last thing, I'm showing it to you. I would recommend you do not put this in. So in other words, I'm going to put it in, but then I'm going to comment the line out. And it's called extra text. So this would be the actual text that you'd want to put in here. So I'm going to put in, this is to let you know that your resume has been received. Okay? So that actually is what's going to go out there. That'll be the actual text that's in there. So I'm, like I said, I'm going to take this, but now I'm going to comment it out. Probably don't want to put that in. But if you did, that's how you do it. All right? Now, one more thing. Please look on the screen here, because I do want you to understand. You see this put extra? This is one way that you can transfer things between screens. Did you all hear me? I'm going to give you a URL tomorrow, and I'm going to ask you to try to transfer something between screens. I don't want you to spend 2 hours trying to do that and finally saying, F it, I can't get it done. You know, I'm going to give you a URL, and I want you to try to do it. If you can, I'll give you a couple extra bonus points. If you don't want to do it, you're not going to do it anyway. All right? But now, if you look here, I'm going to do a file, save all, and I'm going to run this again, and now you're going to see where the problem in here is. So when you look, I don't know, is it still running? Can't tell. I think it's not, but we'll see. So I'm always checking my other stuff. Work experience, education, call me. We know all those work. Call me, you might have to hit the back button 3 or 4 times. But email me. Oh, before it was at least getting a reaction. Maybe it is still running, but still building, but I didn't think it was. Click listener, unclick, email me intent, set type, put extra, new intent, action sent. That's all correct. Can't spell very well, but other than that, it's all correct. Run again. Huh. Well, it's not showing me much of anything now. Tried to base this off the one I did yesterday. Button, email me. Set on click listener, new, view on click listener, override. Click, view, intent, email, intent, dot actions. Email, intent, 4 times, dot set type, plain text, dot, put extra, intent, dot extra, email, string. Huh. Not sure why I'm not getting anything at all there. The only thing is I put a different address in there this morning. All right. I've got I put a Gmail address in there. I've got Jeff Scott rtc@gmail.com. But I don't know why that would matter. Run. It's not giving me anything. I'm going to have to double check that. But I've got the code right here. I can bring up the other one I've got, and it does bring it up. But again, it doesn't work without the... it doesn't work unless you actually have a device plugged into it. All right? Now, I'm not going to be that nuts. I mean, if you had this and you said, gee, are you going to take off if our buttons aren't the same size? I don't really give a damn. But that's something that you may or may not care about. All right? I don't really care about it one way or the other. You may not. All right? But hopefully, if you didn't have that one done, that helped at least somewhat. All right? And what I'll do, let's see. Let me close this. Okay, this was on the desktop. Of course, I just cleaned stuff, so I moved it. And I've got an Android as my resume here. And it is. All right. I just want to show you this, okay? I'm going to copy that there. I'm going to open up the one in it that's got, oh, cripes. Should have just copied the one file, one over. I want to show you it working. All right. Of course. All right. Let's see if this is open. All right, what I'm showing you here once it comes up is this is the one that I wrote initially, and I have no idea if there's any errors in it. There sure as heck shouldn't be. But if I run this one, it looks virtually the same as the other one does. There it is. So work history works. Education works. Call me works. And notice now if I click on the phone or the email, there you go. See how it comes up and it wants you to set up everything for Gmail or whatever? I believe that is a thing. I did some reading online and they said, yeah, you need an actual device for that. I didn't bring in the devices. We'll bring them in. Don't worry about it. What I'd like to do, just so you guys know, how are people doing on the homework? Have you got it just about done? Yeah, Andrew?
I got a few of them, a couple of them.
Okay.
I was wondering, it says one app must be created using each of the following layouts. Do you want one app with 5 different layouts in it?
No.
One app to be used for every.
Yes, I'd like if you wanted to take this layout one that we just didn't change it to a relative layout, that would be fine. All right. What I want us to do next, not today, but what I want us to be doing next is we are going to build one of those to-do lists. We're going to build a to-do list app. First, we're going to create it and get it to do certain things. Then when we get done with that, we're going to learn how to take the to-do list stuff and save it to a database. That way we can log off and we can log back on again. Does that make sense? We'll do that, and because that's a lot of the rest of the book, and then we'll go back and we'll do at least one more. All right? But you probably, after tomorrow, you'll probably have about 3 more hands-on tests. All right? And what I'm thinking of doing is, after April 1st, you won't get any homework. You all hear that? Because that's going to be the time that you're going to be working on that project. And I'm going to give you a whole list. It's going to be, you're going to turn it in 4 stages. You're going to draw me a wireframe basically of what it looks like if you see it, and I'm going to teach you how to wireframe it. So it's got to have multiple screens on it because one screen just isn't going to cut it. All right. I had somebody who did that last year. They had one screen. It was not real good. All right. Yeah. But I will give you dates. I will give you everything by. I plan on working on that during the break, and when we come back, I want to be able to give you all that stuff. The end of the week. All right.